Welcome, everybody. This is a special meeting of the municipality of the County of Annapolis. And I will start with a roll call. District 1.
Bruce Prout.
District 2.
Brian Fuzzy Connell.
District 3. That's myself, Alan Parrish. District 4.
Lloyd Bardo.
District 5.
Lynn Longmire.
District 6.
Alec Morrison.
District 7. District 7.
Muted.
Dave.
Dave Hudson. I got there.
District 8.
Michael Gunn.
District 9.
Wendy Sheridan.
District 10.
Brad Redden.
And District 11.
Diane LeBlanc.
Thank you. Now, the agenda for today, you will have received a note from the CAO on June the 23rd, and it lists 3 items. The first is the South Queen Street paving. The second is the VCFN license, and the third is the Bear River Water Expansion Funding application. So we're going to go through those first, and then we're going to go in camera to deal with contract negotiations, and then we'll come out of camera and hopefully deal with that matter in public session. Would someone like to move to approve that agenda?
So moved.
Councillor Longmire moves, Councillor LeBlanc seconds. Is there any discussion with respect to that agenda? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. So the first is the South Queen Street paving. Mr. Dick, could you please, for the benefit of those that are going to watch this and from the public, would you please give a short resume of what this is about?
I'd be happy to, Mr. Warden. At the last budget meeting, council approved a paving project for South Street. As the Department of Transit is preparing their tender for all the paving that they're doing across the county, they recognize that they wanted to provide some extra paving right to the bridge in Bridgetown. And our share of that cost would be $60,000. So staff is recommending that council approves this additional paving. We would finance it out of reserves, or excuse me, out of federal gas tax at this point. There is an opportunity for us to send in an application to the provincial government to get a portion of that funded. We will do that post this meeting if council approves this project. It's something that we want to do now, because if we don't do it now, our share of those costs will probably be far in excess of $60,000 if we decided we needed to do this in a future period.
Thank you. There's in the document that was circulated to us, there's a proposed motion, and I'll just read it, just change it a bit. Municipal Council approves the expenditure from gas tax reserve of $60,000 to complete the paving where South Street ends and Queen Street begins to the bridge. Would someone like to make that motion? Councillor Hudson moves, Deputy Warden seconds. Discussion? Deputy Warden.
Thank you. So when we paved this, we just ran into a bit of a problem on North Street in Granville. They put a new layer of pavement on that last year, and the water works let go on our main underneath the road, and they had to dig it, a patch out of the road. Now that's waiting there with a hole in it, and it's got to be repaved. So before we go paving this South Street, is there any infrastructure work that needs to be done underneath of it, or has that been explored?
That is part of the total project. We are doing some repairs and infrastructure improvements on the South Side Street, or the South Street component of the project. Yes, we are.
Thank you. It's been considered. Thank you.
Anything else, Councillor Barteau?
Just adding to that same comment, that was only discussed for South Street. Will that cover any saddles that may be there from South Street to the bridge?
Yes, that will be included.
Okay.
Awesome.
Any other comments? Councillor LeBlanc?
So this money would be taken from the gas tax for now? What does that particularly mean? Can Mr. Dick explain a little bit more about that one?
So we've got gas tax reserve set aside for this type of project.
Okay,
So given the opportunity, we think it's a good one to take advantage of it. And if we can get funding from the province for a proportional share of this, we will take that less amount out of federal gas tax.
okay, thank you.
Anything else? Seeing none, I will call for a vote on the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you for that. Next is the VCFN license. Mr. Dick?
And this is really just a housekeeping motion to allow access to our site. VCFN wants to have an agreement with us at no cost, and it allows them to go in and check the equipment with their staff. So we've had this vetted through our lawyers. They've approved it. I think there's a copy of it attached to the minutes. And again, it's just allowing VCFN to go in and service our POP areas once we get our system up and running.
Mr. Dick, for those people that are watching this, can you tell them what a VCFN is and what a POP is, and maybe explain it in a little more detail?
Okay, so VCFN stands for Validity Community Fiber Network. And there's a network already in place from Halifax down to, as far as I know, Middleton. And we're extending that from Middleton through the rest of the county. So this is really the fiber system that's going to provide the internet services to the entire community.
Okay. And this license is simply for the VCFN people to go in and be able to install and work on
Correct.
that fiber, correct?
Right, correct.
Councillor Barteau?
Is there any issues between the VSN and Seaside in using that space?
None at all, no.
Okay.
Deputy Warden?
Thank you. And they'll only have access to a certain part of the building.
Correct.
Thank you.
There's a proposed motion. I will, since it's here in writing and wasn't circulated, I'll just read it, at least not circulated publicly. The proposed motion is that the municipal council authorizes the warden and clerk to sign the Valley Community Fiber Network VCFN license agreement for a term of 5 years as per the terms and conditions for the agreement as circulated. Is there would someone move that? Deputy Warden moves it, seconded by Councillor Connell. Now discussion on that motion. I don't see any, so I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion's carried. And next one is entitled Bear River Water Expansion Funding Application. Mr. Dick, can you give us some background to this?
Again, this is housekeeping. This is for a water project in the Deep River area, or Bear River area, excuse me. And in order for us to apply for funding, we need an approval, formal approval from council. And so this is an issue that Deputy Warden Gunn has brought up on a few occasions. He and I and the warden sat together last week and talked about it. So we're in the process of making an application for the funding for our share of the costs. And we're also in the process of trying to get a meeting with the benefiting users of that system in Bear River, hoping to have something in place in terms of going forward sometime by early fall.
Deputy Warden, do you have the proposed motion in front of you? Would you like to read it?
No, I do not have it.
Okay, I'll read it. The proposed motion is that municipal council approves a funding application to be made to the Provincial Capital Assistance Program for the Bear River Comfort Station Water Expansion Project. Would someone like to make that motion? Deputy Warden moves it, seconded by Councillor Longmire. Discussion? Councillor Barto? You're muted, Councillor Barto.
Do we have some details on an estimate of costs on that at this point?
I don't know what the estimate of the costs are. The numbers that we've been floating around based on the first proposal is in the neighborhood of $300,000. But we're looking at various options. So we want to sort of finalize a design plan. We want to meet with the prospective benefiting users of the system. The ultimate goal is to have as many people using the system as possible, and that way we can defer the cost to a group of people as opposed to a few people. So we're in the process of redesigning one. Council may recall, I think there was a comfort station, and that was the original plan, was to have a comfort station. We could get some funding for that. Whether that's the final plan, we're still open for alternatives at this point.
Thank you. Councillor Morrison, did you want to make a comment?
Yes, please. All of us, each one of us on council has projects in which we are especially interested. And we also view with admiration the efforts of each of our colleagues to advance those projects. And where I come from, I would call it damn stubbornness, but it's really determination on the part of Councillor Gunn that this project is continuing to advance. He brought that up, I think, at his first council meeting, and for a long time never missed an opportunity to take the opportunity to advance this project. And so he has my appreciation, as eventually will the residents of Bear River. Thank you.
Anybody else? Councillor Redden?
If I recall from early days with providing water to Bear River, we had part of the reason for the comfort station versus other things was not bumping into requirements with the UARB and things like that. Is this it's fairly vague recollection from a not very detailed conversation. So is that something we're starting to get closer to, or?
Mr. Dick, are you able to respond to that comment?
I will. I'll allow if Councillor Deputy Warden Gunn has a comment to make on that first.
Yes, the comfort station did put a bit of a wrench in the funding for the Canada Water Wastewater program. That got sort of straightened out, but since then as well, since that feasibility study a few years ago, there has been talk of extending it a little bit further, so that overall cost at one time, I think the county, it was going to cost us around $70,000 or $80,000, the municipality, and Wacoa and the rest of them would pick it up, the rest of it. Now, since then, there's a couple of other issues that have come along. Some people would like to see it extended up to the Oak Dean Center, which is going to put a little bit more distance on it. And of course, by putting it up to the Oak Dean Center, then people are going to talk about sidewalks, because that part of Bear River is in desperate need for a place for people to walk, being sidewalk. There's a little sort of cow path down one side that certainly needs to be fixed up. We'll see how that works out with the funding application. The rest of it, that'll be Mr. Dick's job. Not mine. Thank you.
Anybody else? Councillor LeBlanc?
I certainly think this is a worthwhile thing to do because the people need water and it needs to be provided. And we've been working at this for a long time. And our estimated price at that time was of $60,000 with the county of Digby helping out and all the federal governments in that process too. So hopefully this will go smoother and bend the pike and get it there. I approve.
Thank you. Councillor Longmire?
Yes, thank you. I would also like to say a huge thanks to Deputy Warden Gunn for persevering. This project is long overdue, and I'm excited to start seeing some action on it. Thank you.
I will say that I did speak to one of the commercial property owners on the phone last week at some length, and it really is difficult for him to operate his business there without a good water supply. So I'm all in favor of this myself. Any other comments? Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All those, we did read it, yeah. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you. Now we're going to go in camera with respect to contract negotiations. Do I have a motion to go in camera for contract negotiations? Deputy Warden moves, Councillor Prout seconds. Any discussion on going in camera on this item? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
Just give me a moment here.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda relates to the Basin View Center, and I will ask the clerk to read a motion on the floor.
That municipal council authorized the warden and clerk to sign the agreement of purchase and sale of the Basin View Center as circulated in camera to council to Zuri Canada Corporation for a purchase cost of $100,000 with an effective date of June 30th, 2021, whereby the purchaser undertakes to remedy structural issues associated with the facility to provide the following list of services: restaurant, licensed daycare facility, pool and fitness center, retail grocery store, pharmacy, hair nail salon, licensed massage service, Nova Scotia Liquor Corporation retail store, medical clinic. And the purchaser has also agreed that the property will not be sold for a period of 7 years without the consent of the county.
So move.
Councillor Morrison moves, seconded by the Deputy Warden. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you very much. I believe that's the end of the agenda. Is there anything else before we go?
David won.
Seeing none, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Moved by the Deputy Warden, seconded by Councillor Prout. Discussion on the motion to adjourn. Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion's carried.